But I just want to confirm, and my GP wants to just confirm that I definitely have gestational diabetes. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I can't believe that this is my 30-week bump date. I can't even believe I am 30 weeks pregnant. This pregnancy is flying compared to my last one. A few big things have happened, or changes are coming up in relation to the pregnancy, but first off, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you my symptoms for this week. Number one is Braxton Hicks contractions. I've been having them since fairly early on in this pregnancy. Sometimes they just feel like tightening and they don't hurt at all, and then other times they get a little bit painful but not too bad. But generally, just Braxton Hicks is a part of my daily life now. I've also been getting quite a lot of back pain recently. I've had back pain, I think I've mentioned it in a few bump dates. I've had it for quite a few weeks now. It's just starting to ramp up a little bit for a few different reasons, one in which I'll talk about like after I've talked about the symptoms. I think maybe my diastasis recti is playing a part in that as well, and the fact that I have a human inside of me. Another symptom that I've had this week is just like tight skin. I'm starting to get quite itchy on my tummy. I think the belly band, the pressure band that I'm wearing for my diastasis recti is kind of aggravating it a little bit, making it even more itchy. So that's fun. It's just, it also hurts if someone touches my belly in a way and like pulls on the skin. It hurts quite a lot because there's not a lot of room left for my skin to stretch, if that makes sense. But yeah, tight belly skin and itchy skin. Another symptom that I've had this week is just like pressure down there, especially when I like sit down in the shower to shave my legs, which is like a whole other struggle in itself. But like when I sit down, I just feel like she's going to fall out of me. There's just like a lot of pressure down there. Shaving has become difficult, which I don't remember that happening with Talia. I remember getting to the end of my pregnancy and having her and thinking, it actually wasn't that bad. Like the shaving isn't as bad as everyone says, where it's hard to, you know, maneuver and sit down and reach and stuff. But this pregnancy, I'm feeling like it is harder to shave. And I can't see my bits anymore, so I'm kind of shaving blind. They're the main symptoms that I've had this week. Now, into the stuff that's changed and all the interesting stuff. I had my 30-week midwife appointment today at the hospital. First off, my belly is measuring, I think she said at 28.5 weeks. I measured small my whole pregnancy with Talia as well. I just carry small. Yeah, that's what you know how they measure your belly? That's what that is. That's where that's measuring. I also had an appointment with my gestational diabetes nurse person. I'm not 100% sure of her title, but she specializes in like diabetes and pregnancy. I had an appointment with her today, and I've let her know that my GP wants me to get retested for gestational diabetes just to confirm that I have it, basically, because I was very, very sick when they tested me the first time, and she just wants to make sure that I definitely have it. Obviously, I'm going to continue to eat healthy and everything. I'm not going to go back to eating crap or whatever. But the main thing is there's a lot of procedures that happen after the baby's born, such as like regular blood tests for baby and myself, and heel pricks, and you have to stay in hospital for a certain amount of time, which is all things that we would like to avoid if we can, because we have other kids at home and we don't want to be staying in the hospital for an extended period of time if we don't need to. So we want to get retested, and if it comes back that I do have it, obviously we're completely fine with staying a little bit longer and all of those tests, because they need to be done. You need to make sure that you're healthy and baby's healthy, and I totally get that. But I just want to confirm, and my GP wants to just confirm, that I definitely have gestational diabetes, which I spoke to like I said, I had the appointment with the gestational diabetes specialist today, and she thinks that I do have it because I've had a couple of high readings after like big, not so great meals that I've had. So she says that my insulin resistance isn't where it should be when I'm having these like blowouts of big meals. So she suspects that I do have it, but in saying that, I am still sick at the moment. I'm just getting over it. So I'm going to be testing in 1 week, retesting for the gestational diabetes test. I'm assuming it's going to come back the same as last time and I do have it, but it's just peace of mind to know that I definitely have it, so so that we can move forward with the procedures surrounding gestational diabetes. So what my gestational diabetes nurse, I'm probably not getting that right at all, what she has said to do is to stop testing my glucose levels until my test next week. She said there's no point doing it because you're being retested for it anyway. And I am okay with that because I've been testing for a couple of weeks now and I know what my blood sugars are doing, or my glucose levels are doing when I eat what foods. So I'm comfortable with being able to keep it diet controlled until I get retested in 1 week. And then depending on those results, they're going to call me on Monday and tell me the results either way. But depending on those results, I'll either need to keep testing and see if I can keep my gestational diabetes diet controlled and hopefully avoid insulin, or if it comes back that I don't have it, which I just don't know if that's gonna happen. I just don't think so, because when I eat crap, my body doesn't handle it well, apparently, in this pregnancy. If it comes back that I don't have it, I don't have to keep testing and they'll back off on the whole gestational diabetes thing. But I guess it's mostly curiosity that's making me want to retest, as well as the fact that it's going to mean that baby girl has extra like blood tests and painful procedures in the first few like hours of her life or day of her life, which if I can avoid, I want to, if that makes sense. But like I said, completely understand if it needs to happen for her safety. I also had an appointment with my midwives today, and it was, she was so lovely. I've seen a different midwife every single time I've gone to the hospital, and oh my goodness, every one of them is just beautiful and I love them. So I'm so happy with the people that I've seen so far. She measured me at 28.5 weeks with the measuring tape, and she also felt baby, and heart rate wise, she said she's fine. Her heart rate's accelerating when she moves around, which is what they want to see. She also said that baby is head down, like head down in my pelvis, which explains the pressure that I'm feeling already. She's head down and ready to go basically. But she also said that she's posterior, which means that she is facing like my pubic area. Her back is on my back, which is not ideal, but I'm only 30 weeks. She has plenty of time to spin around. And she said that the majority of women who have babies in the posterior position, when they go into labor, the babies turn. So hopefully if she stays posterior, she turns in labor, but that's just where she's at the moment. And that, she said, that explains why I'm feeling so many limbs and like kicks and punches here, because she's just limbs at this point in my belly, if that makes sense. There's no pushing out or anything, it's just like kicks and punches. So she's head down in the posterior position, and we're hoping she'll flip around in the next, well, before she's born. For those of you who don't know, if you have a posterior baby and you go into labor and they still haven't turned and they don't turn during labor, generally it's a very, very long and painful experience. Like the labor is just long and painful and not pleasant. Obviously labor's not pleasant either way, but I had a very quick like 6-hour labor that moved very fast with Talia. So I was hoping for that again, but if she stays posterior, that's not gonna happen. And apparently it's just like so much more painful with a posterior baby, and you get a lot of back labor. So I'm preparing myself for that, but I would rather have that than a C-section if I had to choose. I have a scan 34 weeks, so in about a month, I have a scan to check my low-lying placenta that they found at my 20-week scan to make sure that it's moving up. Hopefully that is the case. Obviously, if my placenta hasn't moved and it's still low-lying, they're going to start discussing C-sections and things like that, because you can't push a baby through a placenta. So my midwives aren't overly concerned about it. She wasn't concerned about it today, but they said they're going to check it at 34 weeks to make sure that, number one, she's, you know, head down properly where she should be, like she felt she was. The placenta has moved away from my cervix. Also, they're wanting to check her size, especially if that test comes back that I do have gestational diabetes. They want to kind of track the growth of your baby, because women with gestational diabetes generally have smaller or bigger babies. So I guess we'll find out which way that's gonna go, whether she's gonna be smaller or bigger due to my gestational diabetes. Either way, there's a whole lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks in relation to that, to getting retested and confirming that I have it, and then going ahead and booking the extra scans and things like that. I've also booked in my next anti-D shot, which is also around the 34-week mark. So I'll be getting that done at my regular GP. There's just a lot more medical stuff going on in this pregnancy than I had in my last one, and I feel like there's more appointments and it's just harder to keep track of everything. That could also be because I have a toddler and 2 other bigger kids, like Luke's kids 50% of the time, so it's harder to keep track of everything because I'm, you know, they're coming and going and school drop-off and pickups and then all the appointments and chasing a toddler around, and I just feel like I'm struggling to keep on top of all of my appointments, and I'm like forgetting about them, but I'm putting them into my phone, trying to remember them all, trying to get everything done. If my test confirms that I still have gestational diabetes or that I do have it, I'm going to be having regular growth scans to make sure that she's on track and she's not too big or too small. I'm kind of in limbo at the moment as to what's happening with the gestational diabetes thing. But I'm also very happy that she's told me that I don't have to test until I get confirmed that I have it. But I'm also glad that I have been monitoring my levels and I know what to eat and what to avoid. Because when I eat properly sized meals, I have portion control issues, and I have my entire life. I just eat giant portions, even when I'm not pregnant. If I control that a little bit, my numbers are fine and I don't get elevated numbers at all. My fasting levels have never been elevated. I haven't had a single elevated fasting level at all. They're all like 3.9 to like 4.1 or something like that. So I'm not concerned about the fasting levels. It's I ate 20 donuts and a chicken wonton levels that are not so great. I'm so interested to see what the glucose test has to say. Anyway, I've like repeated myself over and over again. I'm just babbling now, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you my 30-week bump. Alright guys, that was my 30-week bump date. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to follow our journey, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!